certain. It's the Tom Leykis Show.
I don't like that kind of talk.
Tom Leykis, only on Hot Talk 1080 KOTK. From Los Angeles, it's the Tom Leykis Show.
Oh, no.
And now, here he is, Tom Leykis.
Thank you for tuning into the Tom Leykis Show. This is where America gets together to talk about the issues you really care about. It's a different kind of a radio talk program. We're the radio talk show that is not hosted by a right-wing wacko or a convicted felon. No, I am your host. Write down our toll-free telephone number. You got to need it. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the program. Here we are together again on the radio. I'm amazed at what I'm looking at here. I'm blown away. You, the listener, are probably a regular listener. Listeners are creatures of habit. If you're listening today, you've probably listened before. Sure, there are new listeners, but the vast majority of people are here all the time. So if you are, you know what this show is all about. And something called the CBSC, which is the Canadian Broadcast Standards Council, has issued a ruling about the Tom Leykis Show, specifically based on a complaint that they received about our Valentine's Day remote broadcast, which, if I recall correctly, was held at the Conga Room in front of a live audience. And you may recall our show was on the air in Vancouver. It was the only Canadian station that carried our show. And our show was subsequently canceled. The radio station told people that something called the CRTC, the Canadian Radio and Television Council. Oh, it was the Pig and Whistle. You're right, Dean. I knew it was in L.A. I didn't know where. Pig and Whistle, Hollywood Boulevard. Mm-hmm. Now, the CRTC and the CBSC both denied that they had applied any pressure to the radio station that was carrying our show to take our show off the air. You will now see that that was a lie, and I've got the proof right here. I'm going to read to you. You, the regular listener to the Tom Leykis Show, I'm going to read to you from the CBSC ruling. The result of this ruling is that the station that used to carry our show has to play a notice on the air announcing the decision. I don't know if they've had to pay a fine or anything like that. But if you think that Canada has freedom of speech, you know, we all have to think of Canada as like the 51st state, and we think they've got the same freedoms we do. And I know we have a number of Canadian listeners who listen to us from American stations along the border. But let me tell you how free Canada is not. It's amazing. I'm reading to you from the panel decision of the Canadian Broadcast Standards Council. This just came out. Here it is. It's 8 pages. I'm not going to read you 8 pages. I'm going to read you the salient parts of this. It says here, this panel considers that the host's comments about women in this program are problematic. Playing to his location audience at a local tavern. Never heard the Pig and Whistle described as a local tavern. Tom Leykis consistently characterized women as gold diggers. Emphasized that they merited no special treatment or acknowledgement on Valentine's Day. Oh, put me in shackles for that. Underscored only their worth as objects for male gratification, and put breasts on display as best he could in a radio context. I mean, you couldn't even see the breasts, but the fact that I was talking about having their breasts next to me, that was enough. I wasn't doing anything sexual with them or anything. I was just announcing that there were breasts in there. Here's another rack. I'm going to sign it. What's your cup size, dear? You know how we do it. Well, here I was, putting breasts on display for the gratification of those animals. Says here, this again is the panel speaking. This is their words. His contemptible declarations regarding women were manifest in many ways, among which were those that follow. He continually used or condoned the use by others of the word bitch, or employing the definite article, the bitch, in a frequent spoken equivalent of finger wagging. They're insane. He also used whore and vagina in reference to women. Would you use vagina in reference to a man? Joey, I think you're a vagina. It wouldn't make any sense. And did not hesitate to adorn the panoply of offensive words with adjectival phrases such as god-awful big fat bitch, money whore, another illiterate ignorant vagina. These are all in quotes. Stupid bitch, money greedy bitch, pathetic chicks, and so on. They're using all my best material here. If the foregoing use of description were insufficient, and in the view of this panel it is not, the dialogue of the host and callers frequently reflected in even more emphatic form the diminution, degradation, and objectification of women. Pieces of that dialogue are cited here, punctuated, as is noted, by the mindless cheers and catcalls of the audience. See, now they're attacking the audience for agreeing with me. I mean, this is a country that claims to be a free country. And this is what they had to say about what I said and then the audience's response. You know, if what I'm doing is so wrong, the audience would be booing. They'd be stampeding the stage and grabbing the microphone away and stopping me from continuing the broadcast. They would not be employing catcalls and cheering. They would not. Yes, pieces of that dialogue are cited here, punctuated, as is noted, by the mindless cheers and catcalls of the audience at the tavern from which the show is broadcast. Now, here are some quotes they extracted from the show out of context. Here's one from me. If you are not stuck with some bitch for Valentine's Day, if you are not out Friday night picking up poon, then you're a fool. God, arrest me. Here's another one. With a six-figure bank balance, poon, you're absolutely right, sir, you're absolutely right. You're going to get laid with this bank balance. You thought I would have said the F word or the C word or the T word on the air. No. These are the reasons why we're not on in Canada anymore, because I said that you could get laid with a big bank balance. Here are some of the other extracted quotes out of context. You don't know the meaning of the word. What word? I don't know. It's out of context. You're another illiterate, ignorant vagina calling in here, and then it says, crowd cheers. And trying to tell me off. You use big words, you don't even know what they mean, do you, darling? That's definitely something I said. Now we have Andrew, a caller being quoted here, and Andrew said, I tell her, all right, let's go to Santa Monica. We'll take a nice little walk down the beach. The first words that came out of her mouth, oh, you're so romantic. Oh, I wish more guys were like you. Dude, I'm going to take that to the beach and beat it up. And it says, parentheses, Tom laughs. That's my standard. As soon as we get far enough from the pier where it's just darkness, I'm going to take her to one of them lifeguard towers and just tear it. And then it has my response saying, I love that. Then Sergio, another caller, is quoted here out of context. He says, but yeah, you know, I think that Valentine's Day is just totally overrated. I just think there's no need to spend money on the bitches. If she doesn't give it up to you and you at least take her for a drink, the hell with her. And then it says, Tom said, that's right, dump that bitch. Then some more stage direction here from the panel. They say, Fred says his fiancee's sister then called him and asked him to go out tonight. And Tom said, oh, really? The sister's been waiting, warming up in the bullpen, waiting for you. So are you going out with her tonight? Fred said, yeah. I'm going to go out with her tonight. Tom said, you know what? I think you should take her sister and bang her so goddamn hard. Crowd cheers. You should plug her like a goddamn leak, you know what I'm saying? I like that. Well, I got to use that one again. I want to thank the Canadian Broadcast Standards Council for reminding me of some of my best material. I was having a great day that day, apparently. Then another quote from myself, taken out of context. There's a lot of women did not get flowers today. Did not get, roses or candy or phone calls or engagement rings, and they're going to be out getting hammered. And these women are available for you to exploit. And I hope you boys are all going to go out. If not here at the Pig and Whistle, I hope you boys will spread out, find these chicks, and nail every one of them tonight. Crowd cheers. Then dump them like the used Kleenex that they really are. Another quote out of context. How many of you boys left the bitch at home on Valentine's Day? How many? Crowd cheers. Another quote. I'll tell you what, boys, I'm going to be signing a rack within the next 10 minutes right here on stage. I'm going to sign a rack right here. Another quote extracted out of context. This is Bob. Bob said, oh, yeah, what you say is exactly true. You can see the facial expressions on these girls who think they're 9s and 10s and 15s get chopped down to nothing. And it's great once you say it. Once you chop them down, they're down to a 0. A quote of April. What was the call of that day, apparently? I have told every single guy, my brother, my friends, every single guy I've ever met to listen to you, Tom, and not put up with some girls' bleep word. Just get as much food as you can, baby. And then I said, that's right, then toss them to the curb. Kick them to the uprights. And April said, hell yeah, because you know what? These bitches don't deserve it. And then I said, apparently, crumple them up like a Kleenex and toss them. Right. And April said, that's what I'm saying, Tom. You're the man. Then it says here, I'm reading from the Canadian Broadcast Standards Council, declaring that my show is misogynistic and involves the objectification and hatred of women. That's what they said. This from the report from the CBSC, I'm sorry. It says here, a woman calls about her impending marriage and the discussion she was having with her fiancé about the prospect of a prenuptial agreement which he had proposed be capped at $100,000 with respect to his earnings. Leykis characterized it as vagina-money and said that if he were her fiancé in such a context, he would give her 0 in the agreement. Now we go back to a transcript of the call. Tom said, I mean, what am I? What is he paying for exactly? He's paying to rent your vagina? What exactly is he paying for? Crystal said, no, but I've been with him for a long time, blah, blah, blah. Tom said, so what? And he's been with you for a long time. Why don't you pay him for servicing you all the time? Then it takes another quote from this call, and it's me saying, the real earnings are, he's the guy making the money, and he's paying for the exclusive rights to your vagina. That's it. Call came in then from Mike. Mike called in and said, Tom, I just wanted to tell you that in honor of your Valentine's Day show, I dumped my bitch last night. And then I apparently responded by saying, you dumped your bitch on Valentine's Day? Congratulations! Says here, one of the relatively few calls dealing with a non-sexual substantive matter, Michelle said that she wanted to be Tom's sidekick on his bilingual show. She said that she was hot and able to speak Spanish. Leykis' reply was, and do you have a nice ass? I would ask that question today. If a woman called in and said she spoke Spanish and wanted to do a bilingual show with me. I want to know about her ass. Because our Latino listeners really love a nice ass. No doubt about that. Anyway, it goes on and on and on and on here, and on and on and on. And it says here, the Challenge Leykis broadcast is in the panel view in its own way at the level of Howard Stern. It continues in its style, the boys in the locker room banter, and the panel finds that the extent of its disrespect for women, sweeping generalized disregard for their equality are astonishing. As the CBSC has observed in previous decisions, programming that may be acceptable in the United States may not meet the more respectful standards in the Canadian corner of the global village. The desensitization that such broadcast mockery of women may generate in Canadian audiences should not be underestimated. nor does it bring benefit to our airwaves. While freedom of expression is a cherished value, I love this, maybe a cherished value, the exercise of that freedom without limits does not strengthen Canada's social fabric. Now, it's an 8-page decision. I could continue to read to you from this, but essentially we know now that Canada does not have free speech. And its Canadian Broadcast Standards Council essentially flaunts that fact, that they do not have freedom, even though there were thousands and thousands and thousands of British Columbian listeners who have heard this show and who agree wholeheartedly with all the things that are expressed on the air, and that was culminated in an incredible listener party that we had in Vancouver last spring. This is what people in Canada have to deal with. This is why radio and TV in Canada are so boring and politically correct. It's because these are the people who get to say yes or no as to what goes on the air. So I'm wondering how many of you agree with what this panel said. I'll certainly be happy to talk to you about this, whether you're in Canada or not. It's pretty amazing, though, don't you think?
1-800-5800-TOM.
The more money you make, the more power you have. The more power you have, the more money you have. The more money you have, the more power you have. The more money and power you have, the more poon you can consume.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Yeah, the Tom Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. It's Rob on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How you doing?
All right, Rob.
I have to tell you, man, I'm a Canadian. I've been living in California now for 2 years, and we never get you guys down there. We had Howard Stern up there for 2 years, and I guess he was getting slack through the whole 2 years, and they finally managed to get him off the air. And it really makes people mad, you know. I mean, Canada talks about being all...
Well, it doesn't get them mad enough to do anything about it politically. I'll tell you that. They don't get that mad.
Well, that's true, too. Canada doesn't really get involved in too much. But you think about Vancouver, they have a heroin injection site there. Did you know that? They have Hastings Street has a legal injection site where heroin users can walk down there with their drugs and get it injected by physicians.
Well, also, Vancouver has a radio station that's talk radio for women. And they bash men on there all day long. And amazing how the CRTC or the CBSC doesn't know about that, or if they do know about it, they don't care.
Or they just say that women are just standing up and speaking their rights.
Canada is the most pussified country I know. It's quite amazing.
It's true. It's true. You know, I can't go back there now because I wouldn't get to listen to you anymore. So
that's right.
Looks like I'm sticking around. But I just want to let you know, as a Canadian, I don't agree with that panel whatsoever, and I love what you do. And I stumbled across your show by mistake, actually. Living out here, I was listening to Howard Stern and left my radio on, got in the car after work, and you were on, and I have to tell you now, Howard Stern's my second favorite radio show.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Tom. Keep up the good work. Hey, can you take me out with a bong hit and then blow me up?
Here it is, Rob. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. Let's say hello here to Chat. Oh, time. My God, time is running out here. My God. All right. Take more calls coming up after the break here. Toll free at 1-800-5800-TOM. Sometimes I get so into the show, I'm not paying any attention to things like breaks, for God's sake.
The Tom Leykis Show. This is the Tom Leykis Show.
From Los Angeles at 1-800-5800-TOM. Nick on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Hi, Nick.
Good. I completely agree with the panel's decision.
You do?
I do, 100%.
Tell us why.
Well, think about it like this. If you were actually allowed to broadcast in Canada, there may not be so many pussies there. And without that many pussies in Canada, it might not be Canada anymore.
That's absolutely true.
Take away the identity of the country. We don't want that to happen.
Yes. I mean, the men in this country, the only way they get their male aggression out is to watch a hockey game.
Right, exactly.
But God forbid they should say that the woman they're living with is a bitch.
And I've been to Canada before. And the women there are just like the women here. There's no different rules that apply. None whatsoever.
I tend to think the ones who are left behind, and we've spent time in Canada, are worse.
You're rock, Tom. Can you take me out Bonnie Lee Bakley style?
Of course I can, Nick. Here you go. 1-800-5800-TOM. Renee on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
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 Hi. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Well, I have to say that I lived in Vancouver for 10 months, originally from Los Angeles, and I'm back here, thank God.
Yeah.
But I have never heard of such hypocrites in all of my life, and I say that because on their TV, I'm talking about prime time, they have way more nudity, way more words that I don't want to mention on air that is not allowed by our FCC regulations that you cannot say on radio or on television. So the fact that they're saying this on radio and allegations they're saying, whether they be correct or incorrect, I unfortunately do not hear that broadcast, but a bunch of hypocrites because their TV is totally opposite, their television programming. So I just have to say that... Well,
the thing is, they're quoting me, and I believe they're quoting me accurately, although out of context, on a variety of issues. But you know what? Nobody has to listen. There's lots and lots of radio stations, and if what I'm saying doesn't ring true for people, people will not listen. And if people don't listen, advertisers won't buy time. And if advertisers don't buy time, the station will cancel the show.
Right.
But they don't believe in free enterprise in Canada, hence the dollar that's worthless, hence the lousy economy in much of that country. And the fact is that it's just a home of a bunch of pussified males.
Well, don't even get me started on the socialized medicine, which is a bunch of crock.
Oh, it certainly is.
I mean, my husband had to have knee surgery, and the only ones that could have surgery were the hockey players. And he was on an 18-month waiting list to get a torn meniscus repaired. Came back to L.A., he had the surgery in 4 days.
Of course.
I mean, everything is hypocritical. And as I said, older television programming is so contrary to what you just said about the radio standards. I mean, it's just hysterical.
Right. Well, they got no problem with full frontal nudity on TV in Canada.
No problem.
And they've got no problem with obscene language as long as being spoken by gays and lesbians. Isn't there is it Queer as Folk or some show that's got a more explicit version in other parts of the world?
I believe so.
And I think Canada is one of the countries that runs the more explicit version.
Oh, yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
And they've got many other shows that I can't even say that were, things that would not even be allowed, especially on primetime television.
Yes. Like, God forbid a man should tell his true feelings about women.
Right. I know. It's pretty ridiculous.
Thank you, Renee.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM. Ian on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Don, how's it hanging?
Oh, hanging right, Ian.
Right on. I think you're right on with this. I mean, we're just so pussyfooted up here. Like, the CRTC...
Ian is calling from Vancouver, BC, by the way. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. I just automatically assumed that.
Yeah.
The CRTC, they have to, like, they're telling the radio stations you have to play Canadian content. There's, like, you have to play so many Canadian songs per hour up here. Like, they're not even letting the Canadian artists, like, go at their own merits. It's just crazy. We're just being forced to listen to crap that it wouldn't even sell that in the States. There's no way it would even sell in the States.
And a lot of it doesn't sell in Canada.
Well, actually, it barely sells in Canada. They're only listening to girls they're forcing us to.
Yeah.
But also, just to let you know, Tom, I just had a boy like 5 weeks ago, and I wish I could find your tape. You should put like a tape or something out of your shows, some of the best shows you can buy on the internet or something, because I'd love to save some stuff for him when he gets older.
Well, I think that's great, Ian. Maybe someday that'll happen. But in the meantime, I'm glad you can still hear us.
I got you on the buzz. It's staticky every once in a while, but I got something at least.
Excellent.
All right, Tom, have a good one.
Thank you, Ian. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. This is Gwyn on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
All right, Gwyn. Yeah.
Long time, first time. Actually, I just wanted to reiterate what Ian was saying, basically about the CRTC. And
Gwyn is in Victoria, BC.
Yeah, Victoria, yeah. It's a little bit of a dictatorship in a way because they're forcing us to listen to 30-40% Canadian, whether we like it or not. And I'm telling you, if I hear Nickelback one more time, I'm going to scream.
Yeah, I know.
And, all day long at work, I listen to Bellingham radio station.
And people vote with their ears. That's what they do. And I bet they'd love to be jamming the signals of these U.S. stations. I bet you.
Most of the TV I watch is U.S. On satellite, of course. And I'm telling you, it's unbelievable what's on Canadian TV. I mean, you hit it right on the head.
But when I watch, because I see Hockey Night in Canada here on the satellite.
Yeah.
And during Hockey Night in Canada, it is loaded with promos for primetime CBC television programs.
Yeah.
And it seems to me, from what I can tell from these promos, primetime Canadian television programs produced in Canada are these politically correct soap operas about Indians, and there's an Indian in every cast. These racially balanced shows.
That's why we're such good hockey players, because when that crap comes on, we go out in the street and play.
Yeah. I bet that's true.
Yeah, it's true. It really is. Anyway, I just wanted to put my 2 cents in, and we're not all pussies up here. We can outdrink a lot of you boys.
I appreciate that, Gwyn, and I'll be happy to take you on any time.
All right, sounds good, Tom. Thanks.
Thanks a lot for the call. We're talking about the decision by the Canadian Broadcast Standards Council regarding the Tom Leykis show. And you might have thought we said the F word on the air. Nothing could be further from the truth. They don't like our opinion about women, and they made it really clear in an 8-page decision. I'm looking at it right now. Justin on the Tom Leykis show. Hello.
Hey, what's going on, Tom?
I'm doing okay.
Good stuff, man. Listen, I live in Vancouver, and all this CBSC crap, it's a joke. I mean, you might as well call it the Communist Party of Canada. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
It's most likely run by a woman, which is another reason why they belong in the kitchen and not in charge of a company.
Well, it's remarkable, and I'm amazed that Canadians, of course, Canadians are so good-natured. I'm just amazed they don't rise up in arms and do something about this.
Yeah, well, understandable, completely understandable. And you know what? A lot of Canadians aren't pussified, and it's because of the crap the government, like the CBC, the CRTC, and the CBSC dishes out. I mean, that CBS nonsense and all the Canadian shows on and stuff, that's all government run.
Am I wrong about that? These promos I see during Hockey Night in Canada for all these politically correct soap operas about like Indians and stuff?
Yeah, you're totally correct. I mean, nobody watches that stuff. Nobody. The CBC almost went bankrupt and went out of business. I mean, they were having to ask the government for millions of dollars just to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
It's a joke, and the only reason why they keep them going is because, well, it's the only real Canadian television channel that anybody, is going to watch.
Yeah, but I'm hearing that, like, DirecTV is in high demand in Canada. I mean, everybody I talk to in Canada very dissatisfied with their TV choices in Canada.
Oh, we've got digital cable. We got the satellite and all that sort of stuff that all comes up from the States. And, I mean, I got digital cable. I watch HBO. I watch Movie Central, all that sort of stuff. When I'm at work, I drive for a living. I listen to The Buzz or 107.7 The End, all out of Seattle.
Excellent.
Anything else? Nah, forget it.
All right, Justin. Well, I'm sorry you have to live with that. I really am. You live in a country that does not have free speech.
Hey, we'll get it one of these days, man. Blow me up, Tom.
Here you go, Justin. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. This is Ryan on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Tom, you should be governor or at least president. But anyway, I tell you what, this is what would happen if we lost the American Revolution. This would be the same thing as Canada. That's all Canada is. It still believes in the Queen. Mm-hmm. She's on her dollar. That's why you can't call women bitches.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's straight up as that. I am a local farmer in Montana, and we deal with Canadians all the damn time.
Mm-hmm.
And the government is a pain in the ass. We got free trade with them, but all we get is their crap worth more money down here than our stuff is worth up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you actually tell them the truth, you're right, they don't want you there because, like you said, why shouldn't they revolute,
Well, I'll tell you what, if I were in a country like that, I'd be leading the revolution. Are you kidding? Freedom of speech is the most cherished right we have. You don't have to agree with what I have to say. But people who might agree with it have a right to hear it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, be the same thing like people call you up and tell you're a dirty bird because you tell the truth. Well, that's freedom of speech.
I think the United States only ought to be helping countries that have freedom of speech and freedom of expression, and we should be helping less countries that have a dictatorship like this.
Exactly. Well, if the United States didn't help Canada, Canada would be the same effect as Zimbabwe.
Well,
because their market sucks. What they do offer is legalize pot and good beer. That's about it.
I mean, they can't even support a goddamn hockey team. Most of the American teams have to subsidize the Canadian teams,
right,
so they can stay in business.
Right. Well, like, look at the CFL.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first of all, their football, it's fun to watch because it's all right football, but the rules are all backed up.
Yeah.
And their players don't get don't get paid with the diddly squat. I mean, the highest paid player, I think, in the CFL maybe makes $200,000 a year in Canuck money. So what's that worth? $100,000 a year?
No, that's why a lot of players don't want to play in Canada, and that, of course, the teams many times have to pay players in American money to get them to come.
Exactly. So when they tell you that you're obscene, all they're pretty much are trying to protect is their government.
Well, there was nothing indecent about what I said. I mean, you may disagree with it, and you may not like what I say or the tone I use, but it's
the truth. I tell you what, Tom, I got to Seattle 2 years ago. I worked at a ski hill. I started listening to you, and I tell you what, my eyes were open. Before that, I was married at 20, divorced at 21, $50,000 worth of debt. I started listening to you. I was like, where have you been? Because you told the truth, and that just blew me away.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just getting to hear something. If I lived in Canada, well, still, be $50,000 of debt, still be finding a dumb broad to take more of my money.
Boy, oh boy, Ryan, you sure do need our show, and I'm glad we're here for you.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
Your most important thing is the woman's breast.
That's the second most important thing.
Okay, so what's the first?
Your vagina. That's definitely ahead of the rack. No vagina, the rack doesn't do any good.
Okay, good point. You gotta have both.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.
Yes, Tom Leykis Show. At 1-800-5800-TOM, it's Drew on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. If you take a second, tell us how this is going to affect, the bottom line to the radio, the station's revenue, and then also just to speak.
Well, it's not going to affect any individual radio station except the one that carried the show, and now will not be able to derive the ratings and revenue benefits of carrying it. For us, it probably means we can't do business in Canada. This is the equivalent of being banned in Canada. And the fact is the revenue from Canada is minimal compared to the revenue we derive in the United States. So there was more in the fact that we had ego gratification and the ability to see another audience that really, really, really liked the show when we were there. But financially, it's really not going to hurt us all that badly, since most of the time we've been on the air, we've not been on in Canada anyway.
I got it. So it's more going to hurt the listener as well as any person that wanted to advertise on your show.
In Canada, yeah.
In Canada. All right. Well, it sucks, and I think people need to recognize it's not just loss of freedom of speech, but loss of, money when they give up their right.
You bet.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. And don't ever forget, we're in the freedom of speech business. We make our money because we have a First Amendment to the United States Constitution. That is how we make a living here. I never forget that. Aaron in Vancouver. You're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Tom, how you doing, buddy?
All right, Aaron.
I'm pissed, man.
Tell me why.
Living in Vancouver. Mojo Radio phones me directly, phones my company, says, Tom Leykis is coming to town. You're the perfect audience. We got your audience coming. Everything's going good. They pull you. I pull my advertising.
Did you really? What was your business?
We run an adult entertainment website that promotes all the adult entertainment going on in a bunch of different cities. And they wanted us to advertise on the radio. We said, okay, only if we're in the Tom Leykis spot. We're getting ready to sign the deal. You're off the air. Pulled the advertising.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that.
It wasn't worth it.
How did the station react when you told them that?
I've told them that twice. I actually got a phone call the other day. The sales rep's following up from a different sales rep and wants to know why aren't I advertised? I go back to him. I said, you know what? Tom Leykis is off the air. The amount of market share up here for what is going on in that radio station now is not worth my dollar, so I'm going to take my money elsewhere. Listening to you on the buzz,
actually going to get in contact with them to promote my site out of there.
Yeah, because we've got a lot of listeners in Vancouver and Victoria who listen to us on the Buzz. No doubt about it.
Absolutely. Been listening to you since you're up here. Been catching you on the Buzz every day. Absolutely love the show.
Thank you for that, Aaron. Thanks very much. I'll blow you up, baby. Here you go. Now, there you go. That's what happened to us today. Canada. Actually, it didn't happen today. It happened, the decision was July 22nd, 2003.